When I was growing up, there was this very weird TV show that not a lot of people seem to remember, and it is called Crashbox. It's a show that ran in the United States and Canada from 1999 to 2000. It only had two seasons, but this was a very great show. Growing up in the early 2000s, we didn't really have electronics in the house besides a TV and the radio, and that's about it. So, one of my favorite shows growing up was an educational TV show that ran on HBO called Crashbox. Crashbox was an educational show that was so silly and so funny that used games to teach the audience and keep them entertained. So, I'm going to talk to you about the show. What is Crashbox, you may ask? Crashbox, like I said, is a show that uses things like context clues and stuff like that to teach the audience with these robots and games and puppets, as the show would call it. So, let's get started. The first game I have in my notes, and there is a lot more other games, but I can only do three today, and it's called Distraction News. Distraction News was a game where a host, Doris Marty, was an anchor host who had talked about multiple subjects, and as she was talking and giving her presentation, there was things running around, noises, and everything trying to distract you from what she's talking about. During this, at the end of each thing, she'll give you 5 questions. The questions were actually fairly dumb if you weren't paying attention, but also very easy and stuff. This one was a great 7 out of 10. As someone who is as young kids, like a 6-year-old, when I was watching it, I watched the show a bit too long. As someone who was that young, paying attention was probably one of my hardest things, but now that I have the skills to do it, rewatching it as an adult, the answers are pretty easy, and I was just a hyper kid who didn't want to pay attention to what she was saying and be focused on every single thing that was going on around her. The second game we have is called Sketchpad. Sketchpad was an artist by the name of Sketch, and he had a sketchpad. Every single time he'll tell you something that happened, but he wouldn't show you all the pages in his sketchpad. Like he said, just because we have eyes doesn't mean we always see. Sketch was very good at telling stories, and filling in the context clues was actually pretty difficult. Watching this as an adult, as someone who was 23, was actually pretty difficult, even as today's standards. For example, rewatching the show, there was an episode where he had said two twins were in the bank and one of them decided to rob the place. Of course, they got caught by the police, and when they went trial to court, the judge decided to let them go. And we had to figure out why the judge had let both of the twins go, even though only one of the twins robbed the bank. He would also give suggestions, like he may think that the twins had, ran off with the loot and they got the wrong set of twins or something, or that they swapped shirts. But actually, at the end of the thing, he reveals that they were actually Siamese twins, meaning that they were like conjoined twins and stuck together. So having one twin go to jail for something that the other one had no actions in was actually pretty clever. And now we're at the last game I would like to talk about, and this one was actually pretty easy. And this one was called Here We Are. And it's like, yeah, it's a funny little pun. Here We Are was one of the easiest games. And it was these two ears who you had to figure out from the sounds that they give you where they are located. They would always give 3 sounds. The guy with the ear one was always the dumbest one for some odd reason and never really got the right answers. He would, but then also, not. He is very, expressive with his answers and give, the most bizarre, out-of-pocket answers. The show was actually pretty easy, mostly because also in the sound effects of the little things that they give will also kind of show, pictures of what the people were doing and stuff, and you had to figure out where they were located. Um, that is about all I had to say today for Crashbox. I'll continue to do more because when I was rewatching the show, I was writing down every single game that appeared, and then some were more rare to see that I do remember. And then I was asking my siblings what their most hated games were, so I'll definitely do more. There was a total of 18 games in total. There might be a bit more, but I've counted 18 so far. But I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from this weird TV show that definitely does exist, and it's not just a Candle Cove scenario. Also, that'd be a very gentle Candle Cove episode. So I'll talk to you later, and I hope you learned something about something that I really loved growing up. And see you. Bye.